There is a specific kind of trust that exists in a therapist's room. It is unlike any other trust in the world. You are not talking to a friend who might accidentally mention something. You are not talking to a family member who has their own agenda. You are talking to a professional. Someone bound by law, by ethics, by an oath, to keep everything you say inside that room. I want you to understand how completely I believed that, how deeply I had built my healing around it. I told Dr. Karen Marsh things I had never told another living person. My darkest fears, my most humiliating failures, the things I had done that I was most ashamed of, the things that had been done to me. I told her everything. She was sharing it with my ex-husband. What I did when I found out, in one single move, in one single room, in 4 minutes, ended her career completely. And I want to tell you every detail of how I did it. My marriage ended after 7 years. I will not go into the full details of why. That is a different story for a different day. What I will tell you is that it ended badly, messily, with a custody dispute over our daughter, a contested asset division, and a man who had decided that if he could not have what he wanted, he would make sure I had as little as possible. His name was David, and David was very good at finding pressure points. I started seeing Dr. Marsh 8 months into the divorce proceedings. I was not sleeping. I was barely eating. I was trying to be a present mother to a 5-year-old, while simultaneously fighting a legal battle against a man who had more money, more lawyers, and significantly less conscience than I did. My friend recommended Dr. Marsh specifically. She had seen her for 2 years and described her as, and I remember this word, transformative. Dr. Marsh was in her late 40s, calm, measured, the kind of presence that made you feel immediately that you were in capable hands. Her office had soft lighting and plants and a white noise machine outside the door, so nobody in the waiting room could hear what was being said inside. I felt safe there from the first session. That feeling of safety is what he paid her for. I had been seeing Dr. Marsh for 4 months when something shifted in my divorce proceedings. David's lawyers started making arguments in mediation that I could not understand the source of. They referenced specific emotional struggles I was experiencing, struggles I had only described in therapy. They cited a period 3 weeks earlier when I had told Dr. Marsh I was finding the custody schedule overwhelming, language so specific, so close to what I had actually said in session, that I had to grip the edge of the table to stay in my seat. I told myself I was paranoid, that these were conclusions any lawyer could reach, that I was looking for patterns that were not there because I was exhausted and frightened. Then it happened again. In the next mediation session, David's lawyer raised something I had told Dr. Marsh in absolute confidence, something deeply personal, something that had no relevance to the divorce proceedings, except as a weapon to make me look unstable. Something no one on earth knew except me and my therapist. I walked out of mediation. I sat in my car in the parking garage for 40 minutes. And then I did something I am not proud of, but I am not ashamed of either. I hired a private investigator. I told him I needed to know whether my therapist and my ex-husband had any connection, any at all. I gave him 2 weeks and a budget I could not really afford. He came back in 9 days. Dr. Karen Marsh and David had been in a relationship for 6 years before I ever walked into her office. They had kept it completely private, different social circles, no mutual connections, nothing online. She was not listed anywhere in his life, and he was not listed anywhere in hers. but they had dinner together 11 times in the 4 months I had been her patient. The investigator had photographs, dates, a restaurant receipt, with both their names on a shared reservation. He had not sent me to a therapist to help me heal. He had sent me to a therapist to spy on me. I had 3 conversations before I did anything else. The first was with my divorce lawyer. I showed her everything the investigator had found. She was quiet for a very long time. Then she said, "This changes everything about your case. Everything." She told me that evidence of a therapist breaching confidentiality to benefit an opposing party in legal proceedings was not just an ethical violation, it was potentially criminal. It gave us grounds to have every piece of evidence David's lawyers had used that originated from those sessions thrown out entirely. And it gave me a counterclaim that would cost David more than anything he had taken from me. The second conversation was with the Professional Licensing Board for Therapists. I made an anonymous preliminary inquiry about the complaint process. I took notes on every step. The third conversation was with myself. Sitting alone in my kitchen at midnight, my daughter asleep down the hall, I made a decision about what I wanted. I did not want a quiet settlement. I did not want a private complaint process where Dr. Marsh received a reprimand and a fine and went on seeing patients and doing exactly what she had done to me, to other vulnerable people. I wanted it public. I wanted every patient she had ever had to know what she was capable of. I wanted the licensing board to make a decision in full view of the world. I wanted David to understand, in the most visible way possible, that every weapon he had tried to build against me had just become a weapon pointed directly at him. I booked one final appointment with Dr. Marsh. I did not tell her why. I arrived for my appointment on a Wednesday afternoon. The waiting room had 2 other patients in it. I remember them clearly. A young man reading a book, a woman about my age staring at her phone, both of them trusting, both of them completely unaware of what was about to happen in that office. Dr. Marsh greeted me the same way she always did, warm smile, soft voice. "Come in. How have you been this week?" I sat down across from her. I put my bag on my lap, and I told her I had something I needed to share. I reached into my bag and placed 3 things on the coffee table between us. The first was the investigator's report. Photographs, dates, restaurant receipts, 11 dinners, her name and David's name on the same reservations across 4 months. The second was a printed transcript, prepared by my lawyer, of every moment in my divorce proceedings where information that had only been disclosed in therapy had appeared in David's legal arguments, highlighted in yellow, dated. The third was a letter, already signed, already dated, already addressed, to the Professional Licensing Board, to the State Medical Ethics Committee, and to the journalist at the local paper who covered healthcare accountability. The letter detailed everything. It was going out that afternoon, whether I left this office in 4 minutes or 40. I watched her face move through 5 expressions in about 8 seconds: confusion, recognition, fear, calculation, and then the one that told me everything I needed to know about who she really was: composure. She tried to compose herself. She said, "I think we should talk about this carefully before you do anything you cannot undo." I stood up. I said, "The letters went out 11 minutes ago. My lawyer submitted the formal complaint to the licensing board this morning. The mediation transcripts have been filed with the court. I came here to give you the courtesy of knowing it was me, and to look at your face when you understood that the person you helped him use was the person who ended this." Then I picked up my bag and I walked out. 4 minutes. I had been her patient for 4 months. She had been dismantling my life for all 4 of them. It took me 4 minutes to dismantle hers. Dr. Karen Marsh's license was suspended within 3 weeks pending a full investigation. It was revoked permanently 8 months later. The licensing board's published decision, which is public record, described her conduct as representing a fundamental and deliberate violation of the most basic ethical obligations of therapeutic practice. They noted it was among the most serious cases of professional misconduct they had reviewed in 15 years. 15 years! David's case collapsed. Every piece of evidence his lawyers had built using information from my therapy sessions was ruled inadmissible. The counterclaim my lawyer filed cost him significantly, both financially and in terms of how the judge viewed his conduct throughout the proceedings. I was awarded primary custody of my daughter. The journalist published the story. Dr. Marsh did not comment. David did not comment. The story was shared widely in mental health professional communities, not as gossip, but as a warning. What she had done and how it had been exposed became a case study in why therapeutic confidentiality exists and what happens when it is violated. 3 of Dr. Marsh's former patients contacted me through my lawyer after the story published. 3 women who had also been going through difficult situations involving David's social circle. Women who had wondered why things they had said in confidence had found their way back to people they were trying to protect themselves from. I was not the first. I was just the one who figured it out. People ask me if I'm afraid to go to therapy now, if what happened destroyed my ability to trust that process. My answer surprises them. No, I am not afraid. I have a new therapist. She is extraordinary, and I trust her. Not blindly the way I trusted Dr. Marsh, but in the way you learn to trust after you have been broken. Carefully, gradually, with your eyes open. What happened with Dr. Marsh did not teach me that therapy is dangerous. It taught me that no relationship, not even the most sacred professional one, is exempt from the possibility of betrayal. And that the answer to that is not to close yourself off. The answer is to know your rights, know the warning signs, and trust yourself when something feels wrong. I knew something was wrong. Every instinct I had was screaming it, and I almost talked myself out of listening. Do not talk yourself out of listening. Your instincts exist for a reason. The people who betray you are counting on you to ignore them. If this story shook you, I understand. It shook me to live it. Leave a comment and tell me what you felt. And if you are new to this channel, every single week I bring you a story that will make you think differently about the people around you. Subscribe, because the next one is already coming. And trust me, you will not want to miss it.